Hello racing fans, and a warm welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for this Saturday. It is the 24th of February and it's one of the highlights when it comes to the South African racing calendar. It's a Splash Out Cape Derby with 5 other features. There is a sweetener to the Pick 6, a 500,000 Rand carryover, and all begins at 12:05. We've got 10 races on the go with all the exotics, and I trust that you, the valued racing fan, is had a good week and now looking forward to catching this Pick 6 on Saturday. As always, it's Graham Hawkins for the Saturday. And Graham, we're just catching up off air, and you tell me it's a nice busy weekend in the Western Cape, which includes the sales on Sunday.
Yes, obviously Splash Out Derby Day at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Saturday, and then on Sunday at the Cape Yearling Sale presented by Bloodstock South Africa. So it is a busy weekend here from a racing and breeding point of view, and of course it is the Cape Summer Season finale featuring the Seafood Festival, so plenty happening.
Yeah, it is seafood and jazz. That's how they're advertising it. So there's lots for you, the valued racing fan, if you make your way down to the Western Cape at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. Let's get straight into it, Graham. We've got 10 races to get through. Race number 1 begins at 12:05. It's over 1,200 meters. Doesn't form part of the exotics. It's a juvenile plate, and there are a few unknowns in the race. But as always, betting horses in single figures. Number 2 is at 4-1. Number 4 at 7-2. 8 at 7-1. Hollywoodbets number 11, 25-1 into 16-1. Hollywoodbets number 13, Anti-Post, Talk to the Master. That opened up at 5-2, has been backed into 2-1. And I think we'll start there, Graham, because there was a big outsider that won on Met Day when this horse ran second. Candice Dawson's runner called Little Ballerina. But really nice to see that form has stood up nicely.
Yes, and Little Ballerina will reappear on this card in the nursery. So we've got to give number 13, Talk to the Master, another chance. He was second on debut behind Handsome Prince, and then second behind Little Ballerina. He was closing in sharply towards the closing stages. The course and distance is ideal for him. He gets his third different jockey in as many starts. Oswald Notes rode him first time out. Richard Free was aboard second time out. Bernard Faydurb gets the responsibility this time round. And I do think that number 13, Talk to the Master, sets a standard. But there are 1 or 2 others. Number 4, Earn Bell D. Very good form coming into this race. Has finished behind Roman Agent in its last 2 starts, and I think the step up from 1,100 meters to 1,200 meters will be in number 4, Earn Bell D's favour, so that's definitely a danger. Number 2, Zanzar, caught the eye on debut when second behind Impact Investor. Not quite sure how strong that form line is going to turn out to be, and he was comfortably beaten. So for me, the principles are number 4, Earn Bell D, and number 13, Talk to the Master, with number 2, Zanzar, my third choice. 2 possible improvers, D's. Number 3, Lonely as a Cloud, gets the tongue tie, only had the 1 start, and then there's been a bit of long shot support for number 11, Mauritius Kestrel, nicely bred by Versing Gedricks, expected to improve on his debut. Whether he can improve sufficiently to trouble Earn Bell D and Talk to the Master is open to question, I doubt it, but certainly one to consider for trifectas and quartets.
Well, you've got 2 roving bankers there from Graham. Just reading between his selections, numbers 4 and 13 look to be the principals there. But Talk to the Master with the Prom Queen and Maza Zola coming out to win from there. I think that could be the horse that they all have to beat, and the anti-post betting support could be spot on. Let's move along to the start of the Bipot, race number 2 at 12:40. It's a Sweps Cape Fillies Classic. It's a listed race over 1,800 meters, and this is a hot field. We often refer to the best weighted column, which I'll read out to you. But number 1, Summer Lily. This has been back, Graham, from 9-2 into 3-1. Number 2 at 9-2, number 4 9-2, 5 at 5-1, 6 at 5-1, and 7 at 11-2. I mentioned that we can refer to the best weighted column, but it's very tight there, topped by a Fatal Gem ahead of Summer Lily and Princess Izzy. Those are the top 3. Of course, Rainbow Locket is also joined there with Princess Izzy. Graham, I don't know, there's so much of form to go around. There's improving horses in the race. How much can we read into their ratings, especially, when you look at the distance of 1,800 meters? For me, it's a tricky start to the bipod.
It is a tricky start because they're evenly matched. There are only 7 runners, but it's hard to single anyone out. I think at the weights, number 5, Fatal Gem, is going to take a lot of beating. In a penultimate start, she was beaten narrowly by Call Me Jetrix, but she was giving Call Me Jetrix 4 kilograms, and now they meet at level weight. So Fatal Gem should comfortably have the beating of Call Me Jetrix, and if you follow that logic, there's very little to choose between number 2, Rainbow Lorikeet, and her stable companion, number 4, Call Me Jetrix. So on that kind of logic, number 5, Fatal Gem, should also have the measure of Rainbow Lorikeet. But I fancy that Rainbow Lorikeet, who's very well bred, will appreciate going up from 1,600 meters to 1,800 meters. And then, of course, you've got the money horse, number 1, Summer Lily, the mount of Daniel Muscat. Yes, World Sports Betting Met winning jockeys back in town, and he gets a ride on Summer Lily. And she's a progressive filly. She's never been tested beyond 1,400 meters. So it is uncharted waters for number 1, Summer Lily. But she's certainly bred to get the trip, and they obviously fancy her to get the trip. So there's money coming for her. So my top 3 choices would be 5, Fatal Gem, 2, Rainbow Lorikeet, and 1, Summer Lily. Then 4, Call Me Jetrix, and 6, Princess Izzy. But I'm going to take my chances with the top 3 that I've mentioned in the opening leg of the bipod. As you say, it's quite a tricky start to the bipod. Small field, but very evenly matched. The blinkers go on number 3, Family Power.
Well, you've got 3 runners from Graham, and if he doubles up, I think that will be an absolute bonus. Personally, I think even though it's a small field of 7, as Graham alluded to, if you try and get this trifecta and quartet with the minimum spend, you are sure to get a very good return on your investment. Race number 3 is the start of the Place Accumulator. It's at 13:15. It's a 1:15. It's over 1,200 meters. It's a City of Cape Town, Cape of Good Hope Nursery. That's what it's called, and it's a Group 3, and there is one first-timer in the race. I see it's Lunga Gila's runner, horse number 3, that is in double figures. But horses in single figures here, Graham. Number 2 at 8-1, number 6 at 4-1. There is some outside betting support, Hollywoodbets. I say outside because they priced this winner up at 14-1, number 8, and that's been snapped up into 8-1. Number 9, Winds of Change, also some betting support into 5-1 from 8-1. And then number 10 at 3-1, and number 13 at 8-1. Again, Graham, are we going with the horses that are proven thus far in their careers, that have won early? Because as we know with these young horses, there can be serious improvement to come from most of them.
Yes, Dees, I think we need to go with the proven form. As you say, this is the first graded race of the season for the 2-year-olds, and they're racing for a big stake. It's a R1 million stake for this Grade 3 contest, the Cape of Good Hope Nursery. I was very surprised that Winds of Change was priced up at 8-1 when you consider that on debut was under a half a length behind the favourite Roman Agent. Roman Agent was having his 3rd start. Winds of Change was having his 1st start. So how on earth Roman Agent was priced up favourite, but Winds of Change at 8-1, I do not understand. I'm not surprised that some speculative money has come for number 9, Winds of Change. He's the half-brother to Safe Passage. Any improvement could see him go past number 10, Roman Agent, on this occasion. So there's not much to choose between them. They are my top 2 choices. Having said all that I've just said, I'm still giving the benefit of the doubt to number 10, Roman Agent, because I think that he's going to appreciate the step up to 1,200 meters. I think he looks a serious racehorse in the making, but we can't underestimate number 9, Winds of Change. I do know that Eric Sands really likes his horse number 8, Banff. It's named after a resort in Canada out of a mare called She's So Cold. Won extremely well on debut, wasn't really expected to win, has since changed hands, will now race in the Barry Irwin and Anand Singh Silk, so he has been sold since his first run. But there's a lot of confidence about number 8, Banff. Then, of course, you got the Vaughan Marshall pair, number 6, One Stripe, who was not too far behind Roman Agent on debut and then trotted up in his second start. 13, Lion Rampart is interesting. He gets the blinkers. That's a late declaration. Was 5th behind Roman Agent and Winds of Change last time out. Didn't behave himself too well in the preliminaries. A bit highly strung. We've seen him race very green in all 3 starts. So quite what to make of number 13, Lion Rampart, I'm not sure. And then number 2, Symphony in White, was impressive on debut. You can only beat what you're up against. She's been a little rushed into this race by Candice Bass-Robinson's own admission. But she's out of the Mayor Snow Dance. She's a half-sister to the Snow Pilot, who, of course, won the Guineas this season. So she's certainly got the pedigree. So there are quite a few in with winning chances. We can't completely ignore the shock 100 to 1 winner, number 5, Little Ballerina. We'll see how Talk to the Master goes earlier in the day. But Little Ballerina's clearly got ability. So it's maybe not as cut and dried as when you first look, but I expect the form of the Summer Juvenile Stakes to hold up. That was won by Roman Agent ahead of Winds of Change, and they are my top 2 selections.
Graham, just one point to mention. I know that Grant van Niekerk rides number 10, Roman Agent, but if you look at this horse, Handsome Prince, you know, favorite to win when shedding the maiden. And then last time out on that run behind Little Ballerina, this horse was heavily punted to favorite as well.
Very nice looking horse. Could certainly prove to be the part. As you mentioned earlier, it's not easy to nail your colours to the master when assessing the 2-year-old form. They improve at different rates from one run to the next. There's no reason to believe that he can turn it over with number 5, Little Ballerina. But clearly, he has ability and clearly has a bright future, and he could certainly make his presence felt here.
Okay, let's move along to the big one. Now, this is it, guys. 500,000 Rand carryover, estimated pool 3 million. I will guarantee then that 3 million Rand will be passed by a long way on Saturday. It's a standalone meeting. It's high-class racing, quality on offer, and that is what they estimate that pool to reach. 1350, 10 to 2. You need to get on by. It's over 1,400 meters. Graham, I'll just jot down some numbers, and if I think it's worthwhile with the spend, I'll possibly read that out at the end of the show, just as a guide for our valued racing fans. They can use it as a skeleton perm. But let's go. Race number 4, number 1 at 8 to 1. Number 3, Anti-Post, Hollywoodbets 3 to 1 into 22 to 10. Horse number 4 at 6 to 1, 5 at 7 to 1. And we got one more runner, that's number 14, Fibonacci, that's from 10 to 1 into 8 to 1, the mount of Richard Fourie. So decision time, Graham Hawkins. Are we all in with number 3, Pomodora's Jet, or are we running for cover?
I'm not running for cover. I'm going to know my fate early. For me, it's a very competitive lineup. Anybody who follows racing can see that. There are many with chances. But I'm going in a very big way with number 3, Pomodora's Jet. He's got everything in his favour. He's got good form. He's got the draw. His course and distance suited. Should be no excuses. He should get the run of the race. And I'm happy to throw him a lot in with number 3, Pomodora's Jet, as a banker in the opening leg of the carryover pick 6. As you mentioned earlier, we're expecting that pool to reach 3 million Rand. Once you look past him, if you're not in the camp of number 3, Pomodora's Jet, then there are so many with chances that you've just about got to go the field. In order of my preference of the other runners, 14, Fibonacci, who's been very, very unlucky in his last 2 starts, gets the services of Richard Fourie, got the worst of the draw to overcome, but could certainly be there and thereabouts. My third choice would be number 12, Sun Dazed, has got some form with Pomodora's Jet. At the weights, Pomodora's Jet should beat him, particularly given that he's got a better draw. You've got to consider number 6, USA's Hope. Number 9, Charlie Croker. Look at his course and distance form. 8 starts, 3 wins, 4 seconds. And so with that kind of form line, you've got to, if you're looking for trifectas, quartets, or if you are running for cover, which I am not, then you've got to consider Charlie Croker, Ina Morari. There's so many, you could go on and on and on. So these, to cut it short, I'm all in with number 3, Pomodora's Jet.
Well, we'll know what's happening very early in this pick 6. Banker number 3, Pomodora's Jet. You got the green light from Graham Hawkins. He's given you the all clear, and hopefully things fall into place, because that will reduce this cost of the perm significantly if we go for a banker in leg number 1. Race 4, number 3, Pomodora's Jet. Then on to race number 5. This will kick off jackpot 1. It's the Pangras Just Master Stakes, listed race over 1,600 meters. And I like the look of this field. Number 2 at 8 to 1 gram. Number 3 at 7 to 1. Number 4, Quasi for Sure, at 4 to 1. Then we go on to number 6, Future Prince, at 9 to 2. And number 7, Royal Aussie, 22 to 10. And number 9, Ponte Pietre, is priced up at 5 to 1. So, Graham, we've kicked off with the banker in the first leg of the Pick 6. This race, just 9 runners go to post. But there is some form to recommend amongst most of them, Graham. The best weighted column, as we know, belongs solely to one horse, and that's number 7, Royal Aussie, just on the company that he's been keeping of late, and he's achieved a high mark of what's his mark, Graham? Royal Aussie. He's a 124, isn't he? Yeah, a 124 is what he's achieved, and of course he's got the big penalty when running third behind Charles Dickens in that King's Plate. So this race, Graham, I mentioned a field of 9 runners. Can we go with the rule here? Less than half the field, maybe 4 horses?
I think 3 Ds. I'm going to restrict my selections to 3 horses. In numerical order, there are numbers 4, Quasi for Sure, number 6, Future Prince, and number 7, Royal Aussie. Number 7, Royal Aussie, does set the standard. He's had a busy season. He, of course, won the Gold Rush as a 3-year-old. His best run this season has been when third behind Charles Dickens in the King's Plate. We know that he's pretty effective over course and distance. He likes to run on. He's got talent. But his run in the WSB Cape Met was disappointing. He clearly didn't stay. He steps back to 1,600 meters, which I think is probably his best trip. So he does set the standard. He's got to be the top selection. But Future Prince, although stepping up a division, has been a good second in each of his last 2 starts. And for the services of Cabello Mazziniani, he only carries 51.5, so he's getting 8.5 kilograms from Royal Aussie, which I think will bring him right into the race. And then number 6, Quasi for Sure. The Peter Muscat stable has not been firing on all 4 cylinders during this Cape Summer season. We all remember the race last year, the Jetmaster Stakes last year, when Quasi for Sure was home and hosed. And unfortunately, Josh Solomons put his hands down and was caught in the shadow of the post by Pakaya. Well, here's Quasi for Sure's chance to set the record straight in the Pongratz Jetmaster Stakes. But he's going to have to step up on his last run. But his form overall is good enough to suggest he'll be a big runner here. And Richard Fourie, Peter Muscat, you can never ignore that combination. So for me in the pick 6 here, I'm going numbers 4, Quasi for Sure, 6, Future Prince, and 7, Royal Aussie. But clearly, there are 1 or 2 others that are worth a mention. Number 3, Captain Fontaine, can bounce back. Number 5, Gold Poker Game, is clearly second in the best weighted column, but she's earned a rating mostly against the girls. She takes on the boys here. She's going to find that a little tougher. But if you're going wider than the 3 I've mentioned, then you've got to consider number 5, Gold Poker Game. Ponte Pietra, I'm going to sit on the fence with him.
Okay, 3 runners there. Numbers 4, 6, and 7. For the pick 6 here. When they're declaring jockeys, I actually thought maybe Daniel Muscat will get the chance again on Quasi for Sure, but they've engaged the services of the man on top of the jockey's log, and that's Richard Fourie on number 4, Quasi for Sure. So 4, 6, and 7, we like that. It's costing 3 rand after just 2 legs. On to race number 6. It's a splash out Prix de Cap. It's a Group 3 over 1,400 meters. And the betting here, Graham, number 2 at 7 to 2. A horse number 6 at 8 to 1. Number 8 at 8 to 1. Number 11 at 4 to 1. And then it is 10 to 1 and better the balance. I'd like to begin with Mrs. Geriatrics, Graham, because we know that she is our champion juvenile filly of the year, Equus champion, that is, of last season. What have you made of her form this season? I know that she came out firing when she won her first race, but what have you made of her form in Cape Town?
Well, Well, there's not much to make of her form in Cape Town this season. I'm sure Sean Tarry's pulling his hair out. I'm sure Richard Faree's pulling his hair out. She takes her chances here in a very competitive renewal of the Splash Out Prix de Cap from a bad draw again. Quite what to expect from Mrs. Geriatrics. D's, to be honest, I'm not sure. I've given her the benefit of the doubt and made her my fourth selection. But I'm going with number 6, Raskova. She's shown terrific form this season. She's been stretched over 1,600 meters when placed in the Cape Fillies Guineas and the Majorca Stakes. She reverts to what I believe is her favourite trip. She gets a new jockey in the form of JP van der Merwe, because Craig Zaki, her regular pilot, is of course stable jockey to Dean Canamere, so he has to ride number 4, Shantastic. I have a lot of respect for number 4, Shantastic. She's not well weighted, but the way she finishes off her races, she's certainly won for the shortlist. My top choice would be number 6, Raskova, then number 4, Shantastic. Number 2, October Morn, has cracked a really good draw in a race that a little bit of luck might play a role in the outcome. She's proven her worth over the straight course, down the lane at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. She goes 1,400 meters. There's no reason why she shouldn't see it out. She has to be competitive. But there's so many with chances, so this is one of the legs of the pick six, having gone light in the first 2 legs. I'm going to throw them all in. We saw on the WSB Cape Met Day that the fillies race, the Olympic Dual Stakes, was the race that produced the shock result. That was won by number 5, Ripple Effect, who's stable companion here to number 6, Raskova. She finished with a wet sail when getting home in the Olympic Dual Stakes, beating Sidley. She also goes 1,400 meters for the first time in her career, and she could be anything, number 5, Ripple Effect. Asia Pambila, bad draw, but has the form. We've discussed Mrs. Geriatrics. Would I be surprised to see number 10, Distant Winter, bounce back? Not at all. She had a virus on Met Day, as did Beach Bomb. We'll discuss Beach Bomb later. We've heard from Candice Bass Robinson that both those fillies returned with a bit of a virus, hence their below par runs on that day. Golden Hostess is the horse that really interests me. Gets a vote to run into the money for me as well, because she's ideally course and distance suited, and she certainly comes into the race with a big chance. Not much to choose on Majorca Stakes form between Double Grand Slam and Raskova, but I fancy that over the slightly shorter trip, Raskova could have a measure again. There's so many with chances. Yeah, I'm going the field, but my top selections would be 6, 4, 2, 11, and 9.
Okay, we're multiplying the perm by 13, and we can afford to do so in leg 3. Graham making it a very difficult race to narrow your selections down. But if you manage to do just that, then you are a winner here, because many are going to play it as wide as possible in race number 6. Race number 7, this will be jackpot 2, Graham. It's the Kaya Stables Diadem Stakes. It's a group 2 with 10 races carded, so you need to work out that winning perm for races 7, 8, 9, and 10. It's over 1,200 meters. Number 1, Rio Carrari, 8-1. 2, Sergey at 8-1. Then we go on to number 3, Bereave. That's at 6-1. Horse number 9, Thunderstruck. That's been backed. Hollywoodbets 16-10 into 12-10. And horse number 10, Future Variety. That is trading at 11-2. Graham, Thunderstruck. Dice was superb last time out. We know what happened at the start, etc., with Isi Vungu, but the way Lucky Hudalakis presented his horse and had him ready for the day, that was a great training feat from Lucky.
It was, to come all the way here, raiding the Western Cape, as opposed to Thunderstruck, who came and settled here for a few months and had terrific form in the Western Cape before going into the Cape Flying Championship, having beaten Sergey and Isi Vungu in the Bantry Bay Stakes and the Winchester Cup. So that was a great training feat. He's come and taken the money and gone back to the Highveld with Dice. And in the absence of Isi Vungu and in the absence of Dice, you've got to make number 9, Thunderstruck, your clear first choice here. His course and form is good. His distance form is good. In fact, he prefers 1,200 meters to the 1,000 meters of the Cape Flying Championship, in my opinion. The ratings say it all. He's rated 4 points above Bereave, and he actually gets a kilo from Bereave, which makes Bereave's task very difficult. So There are 2 legs in this pick 6 where I'm recommending the field. We've already discussed one of them. The other will be the last race. So here again, I think I'm going all in with number 9, Thunderstruck. As far as the pick 6 is concerned, I may decide to go with a bit of cover in the opening leg of Jackpot 2 because there's no such thing as a one-horse race. And I'm waiting for Rio Carrari to bounce back. He's been running over 1,000 meters, which is too short for him these days. He goes back over 1,200 meters. If there's to be a source of an upset, could it be the former champion sprinter, number 1, Rio Carrari? Number 2, Sergey, clearly on the short list. Number 3, Bereave. His form speaks for itself. And in fact, he won this race last year, so he's the defending champion. And number 4, Cosmic Highway. Craig Zaki, Dean Canema, and Kaya Stables, they could have a very good day. So those are the backups, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in the pick 6, I'm going to take my chances bankering number 9, Thunderstruck, because you can't, quickly pick 6 multiply out, especially when you want to put 2 fields in. But in Jackpot 2, I'm going to cover my bets. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9 in the first leg of Jackpot 2. But for me, number 9, Thunderstruck, clearly the obvious horse, and another pick 6 banker for me.
Well, Graham Hawkins have given you 2 options there on where to play race number 7. But we are going to go with option 1 for the pick 6 guide on the show, Banker 9, Thunderstruck. Let's go on to race number 8 now, Graham, and this is the main event when it comes to the race day. It's the Splash Out Cape Derby, Group 1. We know the distance is 2,000 meters. It's for a stake of 1.5 million rand, of which the winner will take home 890,000. The betting here, Graham, number 4, Beach Bomb at 7-2, the filly, the daughter of Lancaster Bomber. Then we got number 6, Green with Envy. That opened up at 18-10, is now 14-10. 7, Slishlui at 3-1, and 8, Rabidash at 11-2. Graham, it was quite early on in his career that I'm sure many would have penciled him in as a horse that if things go to plan and he trains on the way he started off his career at Hollywoodbets Greyville, that he could be a candidate to win this race. And here he is. He's arrived.
Yes, he has, Dees, and he's got the right sort of pedigree to go the 2,000 meters. He certainly won the Politician Stakes in emphatic fashion, giving weight all round, racing with his usual style, languishing towards the rear of the field. He does give you some nervy moments, and Craig Zaki's going to have to be brave again. The pace in this 9-horse field is going to be key, or perhaps the lack thereof, because Green with Envy likes to relax and come with a late flourish. I'm expecting more of the same. There's nothing to choose between him and Slishlui on 1,600-meter form. They've met on a couple of occasions in the Cape Punters Cup and also in the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas, and there was nothing to choose between them. In fact, Slishlui finished ahead of Green with Envy on both those occasions by a narrow margin. Hence, his rating is 1 point higher than Green with Envy. But Slishlui, obviously, we're not quite sure how he will handle the 2,000 meters. He was not seen to good advantage in the King's Plate. So I'm going strongly with number 6, Green with Envy, to beat home number 7, Slishlui. Not quite sure what to make of number 4, Beach Bomb. I referred earlier to the fact that Candice Bass-Robinson disclosed that the reason for her indifferent run in the Majorca Stakes was that she and Distant Winter came back showing signs of a virus. So we've got to judge her on her best form. She's a dual grade 1 winner. She's the highest rated horse in the race. And if you look at the best weighted column, wow, she's weighted to win this by quite some margin. But she takes on the boys here. So I just have a feeling that she might have to take a back seat behind Green with Envy and Slishlui. So in my pick 6, here again, I'm going to take my chances. I'm going to bank at number 6, Green with Envy, because the last leg is a Class 4 fillies and mares handicap over 1,200 meters, and I want to have the field there. So Green with Envy, another banker for me. So I'm going with 3 pick 6 bankers, 2 fields and a few horses in the other leg. But clearly, again, the jackpot offers you the opportunity to hedge your bets and go a little wider. Slishlui, my second choice. Beach Bomb, my third choice. I know Rapidash is respected in the market, and why not? He was the Gold Rush winner. He came from far, far back, but he takes a step up in division here, and there shouldn't be too much to choose between him and Coastal Commander on the form of the Gold Rush. The horse that I think might sneak into a quartet position is number 9, Infrared. The ratings don't tell the whole story. I think the further he goes, the better he'll be. He's the son of Twice Over, of course, signed the winner of the Derby last year and See It Again. He's not had much luck in running this horse, Infrared. So if you had to ask me, who do I believe will run 4th behind the principals, that would be number 9, Infrared. But I'm going to throw my eggs into the basket of Green with Envy.
Okay, Graham Hawkins giving his thoughts there on the Group 1, and I must agree with him. If there is going to be a roughie to make this trifecta and quartet pay, it could be number 9, Infrared. But one has to say, it's a big, bold statement being made here by Candice Bass-Robinson. You heard the excuses from Graham on what happened last time out. She is top of the best weighted column. Can she match strides with the boys here? The Rose Amongst the Thorns, number 4, Beach Bomb. 9. Race 9 is over 1,200 meters. It's a fillies and mares. And how are we going to close this pick 6 off? Well, Graham, you got money to spend because you've saved a lot. Your pick 6 is actually costing 39 rand thus far, Graham, with 3 horses and a field.
17 runners, Dees. That's why we're going all 17 runners. Okay. So structured that way. Obviously, I don't want to come here and select a multiple thousand-rand pick 6 sperm. As you referred earlier to a skeleton. Yes. Our listeners and our racing fans can add where they want to add. But if I get away with my 3 bankers, I don't want to be sitting on the edge of my seat here. I want all 17 runners because it's one of these Class 4 fillies and mares handicaps over 1,200 meters that could produce any kind of a result. There are obviously horses that do stand out to a degree. Number 13, Pineapple Mint Green, I think will go well. Number 8, Naughty Quest, beat Pineapple Mint Green last time by a length. They should be closer together, but clearly number 8, Naughty Quest, one for the shortlist if you are looking for a shortlist. Number 6, Mia's Harper. She was so disappointing last time. She has to be better than that. On a previous form, has a chance. Then number 11, Gimme the Waltz, comes into the race with a chance. Number 12, Girl Like Us. Number 2, Dame of Tricks, I think at the top of the boards. She's only had the 2 starts. She won on debut, beating the long-time maiden Tequila Sky, who was beaten again the other day. Then she did come out and run second to Pork Divine. That was a nice effort in a very small field. I'm a bit surprised that she backs up just 2 weeks later. That's not normally Brett Crawford's style to see her rushed into a race like this. But clearly the daughter of Vercingetorix is on the upgrade and must be one to respect. But, you know, she's going to know she's been in a race here. I could go on and on again, Dees. I'm not going to do that. For me, this is a field race. So it's a field race in the pick 6. I've given the 3 bankers. When it comes to hedging your bets, as I discussed earlier, race 7 is the start of Jackpot 2. So hedge your bets in race 7, which is obviously the Diadem Stakes, by not bankering Thunderstruck. Hedge your bets in the Splash Out Cape Derby by not bankering Green with Envy. Still put the field in race 9, and we've got a banker to come in the last.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. Just the horses in single figures here in race number 9 as a guide. 1 at 8 to 1 at the time of recording, 2 at 9 to 2, 6 at 6 to 1, 8 at 6 to 1, and then we have, one more run at number 13, Pineapple Milk Green at 8 to 1. So Graham's included the field there in the pick 6, and at this stage of the game, it is multiplied by 17, the cost of that perm. Race number 10, 1,200 meters. And how do we end things off here? Well, it is that race, the work riders and the jockeys. Graham, last year, if I can recall, it was the work riders that did exceptionally well in this race. But I'll give you the betting here, and maybe you, on assessment of the way you read the form and the way they priced up, you will tell us whether the jockeys or the work riders have got the better rides. Number 1, from 18 to 10 into 12 to 10. Number 2 at 6 to 1. Then we go on to number 7 at 8 to 1. And number 10, that has shorter, no, it hasn't. That is at 7 to 1. Graham, you look at the betting and the way they priced them up in the fixed odds betting market, it seems like it's a one-horse race here. Number 1, Speed Racer.
The stars have aligned. What are the chances of the sponsors winning their own race and having the right horse in their own race to win such a race, and they've certainly got the right horse here, higher stables in the form of number 1 Speed Racer. What are the chances that their retained jockey Craig Zaki will be drawn out of the hat to ride Speed Racer for the Brett Crawford stable? So it all points to number 1 Speed Racer. For me, he's the nap of the day. I know it comes in the 10th race, and I'm not looking to dodge bullets. But like I said, I've got 3 bankers, a couple of bankers in the bipod, which we'll discuss in a moment, 3 bankers that I've declared in the pick 6. But the way to play for me, the second jackpot races 7, 8, 9 and 10 is to cover all of those options in races 7, 8 and 9, and then nail your colours to the mast here by bankering number 1 Speed Racer. He's got all the right form. Quite frankly, I'd be shocked if he didn't win this. Now, no, strictly on form. Strictly on form. Number 2, Noonday Gun. You can find a form line all the way back on the 18th of November, over 1,400 metres at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, where Speed Racer ran second behind Lindbergh, and Noonday Gun ran third behind Lindbergh. They met there at level weights now. Noonday Gun gets 2.5 kilograms. All of the work riders get the 2.5 kilogram advantage over their professional jockey rivals. So strictly on that form, number 2 Noonday Gun does have a chance. But Speed Racer has his second run after being gelded, and I think that he's the more progressive. They've both had many chances, to be fair. One has to say that. I'm surprised that Speed Racer is still a maiden. I'm surprised that Noonday Gun is still a maiden. Craig Zaki rides Speed Racer. The work rider Njengeli rides number 2 Noonday Gun. Those are the 2 best in the race. You've got some sort of chances for number 7 Whistles on Fire and number 10 the US of A, and I suppose those need to be respected, but quite with a great degree of confidence, I'm in the camp of number 1 Speed Racer.
And I agree with Graham. I actually think that even though the horse has been back now to 12 to 10 at the time of recording, I suspect this horse is going to start shorter than that. As Graham mentioned, I mean, the way things have mapped out on the luck of the draw with Craig Zaki up and against work riders and these professional jockeys, well, they've had to get the horses the hand that they've been dealt, but it's Zaki, and that has everything in his favor here. I can see this horse starting in the red, especially if a few of Graham's bankers in those pick 6 have to arrive, and it will all be played into Speed Racer at the back. Before we go to Graham Hawkins' suggested bet, I just want to read out that skeleton perm for the pick 6 for you, the valued racing fan, that you can use. The pick 6 starts in race number 4. The estimated pool there is, as I mentioned, 3 million, but we're going to get past that in a big way. You need to jot down this time, 13.50, 10 to 2. Skeleton perm for Graham Hawkins, 3 a banker, by 4, 6, 7 by the field, which is multiplied by 13 at the time of recording, by 9 a banker, by 6 a banker, by the field multiplied by 17 at the time of recording. That spend will cost you 663 Rand, or let's just make it 67 Rand for 10%. Over to you, Graham, your suggested bet for the meeting.
Yes, I've gone with the bipod, which starts in race 2 at 12.40. 3 horses in that very tricky Cape Fillies Classic. Numbers 1, Summer Lily, 2, Rainbow Lorikeet, and 5, Fatal Gem. Then we move on to the Cape of Good Hope Nursery. I put 4 horses in here. Number 2, Symphony in White. Number 6, One Stripe. Number 9, Winds of Change. And number 10, Roman Agent. Then banker number 3, Pomodoro's Jet. Then just 2 horses. I've included 3 in the pick 6 that we discussed, but I'm happy to go with the 2 horses. 6, Future Prince, and 7, Royal Aussie in the bipod. If you want to add number 4, Quasi for sure, by all means do so. And then the Splash Out Prix du Cap, which is a very competitive race. We've got the field in the pick 6, but in the bipod I'm going with these 5 runners. Number 2, October More. Number 4, Fantastic. Number 6, Raskova. Number 9, Golden Hostess, who offers good each way value at the current odds. And number 11, Mrs. Geriatrics. We're not quite sure what to expect from her. And in the last leg, banker number 9, Thunderstruck. So that's my suggested bipod. It's a day, D's, where I think we're hoping that the cream rises to the top where we're expecting it to do so, but there are also a number of very competitive races in between.
Well, thanks to Graham Hawkins for his input on Cape Derby Day, the Splash Out Cape Derby Day, and 5 other feature races. A sweetener to the Pick 6 of 500,000. You don't want to miss that. And it's jazz and seafood coupled with the high-class racing action. On behalf of the entire team at Gallop TV, Graham Hawkins, to you, the valued racing fan, I trust that you're going to have a great day if you are playing at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. Find all the winners, and it turns out to be a successful day to you, the valued racing fan. From myself, Dees Dynan, until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashle.